Welcome, Scorpio. This is your tarot reading for the month of March. Most signs have been deeply psychological, and I think yours is. It's also a major month for many people. Yours looks to be very much about change. You look at that central card, Wheel of Fortune. That signifies, major changes to me. Maybe lessons to be learned during the month of March. There was a major change last year, and I think most of us are aware of it now. Not all of us are aware how we should react. Bottom right hand card, nightmares. You were frightened of something was playing on your mind. Maybe it was a premonition of what's to come. But right now, you're very happy. You're enjoying life, enjoying things, seeing things on the bright side. In the future, we have a sudden and abrupt and probably unwelcome ending. This feels like we're talking about one of these cycles ending again. And it feels like it doesn't come naturally. It's pushed on you by the universe. The energy that leads to the outcome is the energy of deception and betrayal. I think you're growing aware of deception and betrayal all around you, and this is causing this major shift. Now, what would change the outcome is lovers. Probably means, it doesn't mean you find a new love if you've already got one. But if not, you find a new love. If you've already got one or find one, it feels like it's heaven sent. It feels wonderful. And if you can focus on love, then maybe we can change the trajectory for the better. Because this is only talking about energies that impact on you. And if you can flow with the right energies, then you can have better things. It certainly isn't fortune-telling tarot. The outcome, I don't think it's a bad outcome. The Fool going off on a new journey. So, in line with that Wheel of Fortune, beginning a new journey with a wide-eyed innocence, which is no bad thing. I'm just worried about that Death card in the future. Is there another cycle coming very quickly? We'll see. Let's have a look at each individually. And as I say, this reading's all about change, and it's all about change because we have this Wheel of Fortune in this central position here. So it's an energy that runs through all the other energies. As I said, there was a major change last year, a shift in paradigms, where we've moved from individual greed and deception and manipulation to a much more communal, loving energy. But of course, there's still deception, there's still greed, there's still cheating, there's still corruption going on. But there is a karmic reaction to that going on right now. It might not feel like it's happening to you. I'm sure you're aware of the change, but you might not be aware of the direction of the change. And this particular change here for you may see very personally. You might not associate it with the changes going on in the world. Although there are elements of this reading that do suggest that it's about global issues. This normally brings with it good luck and good fortune. And it's normally about, have you embraced the lessons from the last cycle so that you can move on to the next? And I'm not sure from this spread if that's the case. I think you may have, but we'll see. In the past, you were having nightmares, waking up at night worried about things. Maybe you could interpret those nightmares, maybe you couldn't. But it was your subconscious letting you know that dramatic things are happening to you. They're not necessarily bad. It might feel, it might be a nightmare and you feel that it's a bad omen, but it isn't necessary. Only if you see change as bad, and change, let's face it, is inevitable. So I think you were getting messages from the universe about what's going to happen in March. But whether or not you interpret them correctly, I'm not sure. Very heartened to see that your current energy is almost the opposite of the nightmares. And that is enjoying yourself, living life to the full, being happy, not having too many cares, not having too many worries. Maybe you've learnt that happiness comes from within, and maybe you're sophisticated enough to be able to create your own happiness. I do hope that's what it's telling us. And surely with this sort of energy, then you have, I believe, learnt the lessons, certainly from one of the cycles that I can see. So, yeah, I think this card bodes very well. Very well. Now in the future we have the energy of death, a sudden, abrupt and probably a bitter ending. Was that what you're having nightmares about? I'm not sure. You would expect an ending with cycles. So, when a new cycle begins, an old cycle ends, and often there are major changes in your life to contend with. But this suggests that this is being sort of foisted upon you by the universe, that things are being taken away because they need to be taken away. And, we had that last card, the card of great joy and happiness. And sometimes it might be better for endings to be sudden and bitter, rather than for them to play on your mind, which is the sort of thing of the nightmare card. Even though the sudden ending can be cathartic, and maybe that's what I'm seeing in this. Now, what leads to the outcome is another energy that could be seen negatively. But I like this death card, I think it's necessary. And that's an energy of deception. You look at the card, she's buying a sword off that man, while her accomplice is stealing another sword. So it's a card of deception. Is this a personal deception? It could be. Or are you waking up to the deceptions that we're all acutely aware of now? And that's what's pushing you to embrace change. I get that very distinct feeling from this card. I mean, of course, it is a negative energy, but it's like the death card. I'm getting a feeling that it's necessary. Yeah. Now, having said that this deception and this death energy feel necessary to me, maybe you could steer a better path through things. And that would be through love. So filling your heart with love, it's already full of joy by the looks of it, but filling it full of love Love for yourself, love for God, and love for humanity. And maybe you could avoid some of the more unpleasant bits or unpleasant energies that are going to impact upon you. You know, if you're full of love, you can't really see the negatives so well, can you? You know? And as I say, you create your own happiness. So if you're full of love, then you're much more accepting of the changes. I mean, it could be that a new love comes into your life. It could be that your love for an existing loved one grows. It could also simply be a partnership. But I think this is a card about, or this is an energy in your case, about love in general. And it's just about filling your heart full of love. Now, if you remember, I said I thought the deception might be necessary. And the deception leads to this outcome, which is the energy of the fool. And that's setting off on a new journey with a wide-eyed innocence. It doesn't mean to say the journey won't be without its problems, but generally speaking, you will be met with luck on embarking on a new journey. And of course, if we go back to the central card, the Wheel of Fortune, then coming to the end of a cycle and beginning a new one, well, that's what this is all about. Okay, so the love changes it. So the love would mean that you'd have more purpose in this new journey. It doesn't stop the new journey. It's just that you would have more purpose. The Fool suggests you don't really know what you're doing or where you're going, but, you know, you're willing to embrace change. So I think it's a good outcome, whatever, you know. But if you fill your heart full of love, you might find more direction on this journey. So, yeah, I'd like to get a bit of clarity on that deception card. Have I got it right? And yeah, I want clarity on this deception card, because as I say, I think it's necessary. Also, was it a personal deception, or was it you waking up to the deceptions that are all around us in the world? And that's pushing you on to embracing this change. And the first card we get is the World card. Now, does this mean to say that, is this confirming that the deception is necessary to push you into the change? It could be. But I think much more likely it's telling us that the deception is a part of this global deception, of this change in society. The next card is the Emperor card, which suggests that the deception was by a powerful person, somebody of authority. And the final card is about choices and planning. How terribly interesting. Yeah, we have this World card. I mean, this is probably even bigger changes than the Wheel of Fortune. A bigger cycle coming to an end. Is this another cycle? Is it just confirming to me that the deception is necessary for you to embrace this new cycle? That is undoubtedly true, but is there more to it than that? Is it telling us that you're waking up to the deception of the old paradigm and how the world has changed as a result of that deception? I mean, certainly for me, the last 4 years has woken me up to the fact that nothing I believed in or trusted is real. And I have to steer my own path through life, stop listening to others, stop trusting others. Now that sounds very negative, and I'm not putting it quite as negatively as that, because what I've realised is that so many of those people that claim to be our betters are just like children. Children in the playground of my first school. And we put our trust in people who we really should never have trusted. And I think that's what this is telling us. Now we have the Emperor, a father-like figure of authority, somebody that we look up to and respect, perhaps somebody a bit conservative. Is this telling us that that's who's betrayed us? And if I've got this world card, this world card correct, then is it telling us that you've realised how we've been betrayed by our betters? That those very people who asked us to put faith in them and to trust them were just acting out of greed. In fact, it might even be more than that. They were acting out of some sort of psychological imbalance. As I say, I'm beginning to see so many people as being children, emotionally, dreadfully immature. And, we're asked to believe them when there's no reason to believe them. We're asked to go along with them when they are betraying us all the time. And I think that's what you're coming to understand. So I don't think it's a new betrayal. I think it's understanding betrayals that have gone on for a long time. Ah, yes, and this deception has left you thinking, what should I do? Planning, what are the options? Because you know that you need to change, but you don't quite know how to change. And of course, this is the point about the Lover's card, which I think is about love, and the Fool card, which is accepting the change, but not knowing what direction to take. And I can't really, I know love is the right thing to do, but then to a certain degree so is simply submitting. No, I think love is to be guided by love is the better option. But neither are that bad, because you are embracing change, and that's what this tells me. So we can summarise for you, Scorpio. Scorpio, this is a very interesting reading for you for March. We're all aware that there was a major change, a major shift last year. But not many of us, well, I'm not certain even sorry, that sounds terribly egotistic. I'm not certain that I even understand it completely. I know we've shifted away from greed, manipulation, lies and corruption, and moving towards community and a more loving society, even though it feels like the exact opposite right now. But that's just the old playing out, and karma will take care of everything. But you're struggling with this. You know there's major changes, and in fact you've been kept awake at night worrying about it. And I think you're resolved just to be happy, just to have a good time, because of what can you realistically do about it. But you begin to understand that we've been deceived. We've been betrayed very badly by those who have asked us to trust them, by those who've said that the world is safe in their hands. And I think, like me, you're beginning to understand they're children. They're children. They're psychologically damaged children, When I was at my junior school, there was some children that we just knew to stay away from. And I just don't understand how we've allowed those very children to get into positions of power over us. But that's what they have done. And you're beginning to realise it. And you know you must change, but you don't quite know how to change. Now, one way to change is to fill your life full of love. You've already filled it full of happiness and joy. So why not go with filling your life full of love, you know? And be guided by love. And I think things will end up much better. But yeah, there's another change coming on for you. And I think you've learnt most of the lessons. But there might be something in your life. I mean, it might simply be these ideas I'm talking of. But there might be something in your life that will come to a sudden and abrupt ending. But like the realisation of deception, it's what leads you forward to embrace change. So you can either embrace the change with total submission, not really having a care in the world, or you can embrace change full of love. And I suspect embracing it full of love is for the best. But I think this is actually, despite it sounding negative, it's a very good reading for you, Scorpio.